Part 70. My evil Imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 691. In fact, the headquarters of the major forces are not located in the center of Zhengzhou city, and they each occupy a vast area with abundant spiritual energy outside the city. However, there are quite a few courtyards in Zhengzhou city, and the Feng family's courtyard is not far from the Danta playing field. After Feng Yuexin brought Lum Weian back to Feng's house, all the senior members of Feng's family who stayed in Zhengzhou city were there. Little sister, is this girl really your daughter? The head of the Feng family asked cautiously. His sister is still unmarried, where is such an old daughter? He didn't believe it at all. Could it be that she hasn't stayed in the forbidden area for more than 20 years, and has gone out to meet men privately? But it doesn't look like my sister's temperament. Other high-level executives also turned their attention to Feng Yuexin and wanted to hear her explanation. Although the Feng family was very united, they had never encountered such an unmarried child, and their hearts were extremely complicated at this time. Judging from Feng Yuexin's current cultivation, they still have to call him senior, so no one came out to criticize him. The most important thing is to believe that Feng Yuexin, the proud girl in the sky, should not be able to do things that would bring shame to the Feng family. More than 30 years ago, I was subjected to the Lin family in the secret realm. Feng Yuexin was not prepared to hide her affairs in the lower realm, so she revealed everything that happened to her soul. After listening to this, the senior members of the Feng family were stunned for a moment. It turned out that it was the child born of the split soul. However, the split soul that Feng Yuexin separated is actually almost the same as the original soul. Many of the descendants born from such a split soul have the blood of the Phoenix family. Lum Weian and her two older brothers are indeed Feng Yuexin's children and descendants of their Feng family. So it is Feng patriarch heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He looked at Lum Weian lovingly and said, "Just come back, the Feng family will be your brother and sister's home in the future. The Feng family only has such a younger sister, who has always been in the palm of his hand and loves him. Now I Wu and Wu naturally like Lum Weian very much. He is your eldest uncle and the head of the Feng family. You have two uncles and other cousins, but they are all in the Feng family's headquarters. You can see them when you go back," Feng Yuexin said to Lum Yu. Smoke explained. Lum Weian smiled and called out to the head of the Feng family, "Uncle." "Damn, this girl is really lovable." The head of the Feng family immediately took out a space ring and stuffed it with Lum Weian. "This is a gift for you from my uncle, but you can't accept it." Lum Weian was not hypocritical, she took it and put it away without looking at it, and replied sweetly, "Thank you, uncle." The Feng family's love for Lum Weian deepened by 2 layers. Then Feng Yuexin introduced the other high-level executives present to Lum Weian, who all greeted them respectfully. The higher UPS of the Feng family attached great importance to Feng Yuexin, and naturally they also attached more importance to Lum Weian. In addition, her temperament was outstanding, humble and easygoing, and they had a good impression of her. The reason why the Feng family has become one of the super big families in Zhengzhou is that in addition to its profound heritage, it is also relatively united, and there are very few utilitarian people who are competitive within themselves. Therefore, he welcomed Lum Weian from the bottom of his heart, and did not think that she would be useful to the Feng family. "It turns out that you are my cousin, no wonder you were very kind when we first met." After finishing the business, Feng Liu jumped up and pulled Lum Weian and said with a smile. The first time she had a good impression of this Lum Weian, this time she was amazed and shocked. Now she is her cousin, so she has to take good care of her. Cousin Lum Weian nodded with a smile, "The first time I saw you, I felt a sense of closeness." "Haha, this should be the bloodline connection." Feng patriarch laughed happily. With a soft smile on Feng Yuexin's face, she thought about it and said, "Brother, take the blood vessel crystal ball and let Yanner test it." Patriarch Feng was stunned for a while, obviously did not expect Feng Yuexin to say this. Is the little sister still not sure about Lu girl's bloodline? Fenyuixin saw his hesitation and said amusingly, my family's Janus bloodline of the Phoenix family is very pure, I just want to see if she meets the conditions for going to the family's Tianfeng blood pond to wash her marrow and shape her body. So that's what happened. Feng Patriarch was almost taken aback by Fenyuixin. Immediately, he took out a pale red crystal ball and said to Lumwian, Yanur, you stimulate the blood in your body, put your hand on the crystal ball, and use the power of blood. Lumwian knew that her mother would not harm her, so what Tianfeng blood pond should be extremely precious to the Feng family. She nodded, put her hand on the crystal ball and activated the power of blood in her body. As her hands were covered, the color of the crystal ball, which was originally only light red, gradually became darker, and it turned red little by little and turned into a small dot that landed in the center of the crystal ball. What? Patriarch Feng stood up in shock. Several other clan elders also got up and watched carefully with wide eyes. My family's Yanur is actually the purest and best quality Tianfeng bloodline in the family legend. It's much purer than me back then. Fenyuixin did not expect the Feng family bloodline in Lumwian's body to be so powerful. She was very proud of her daughter. Good. Good. Good, Feng Patriarch said 3 good words excitedly. Lumwian asked curiously, is the purest and best quality Tianfeng bloodline measured from this crystal ball? But my bloodline has only a little power. Your mother's bloodline power was crimson red covering the entire crystal ball, belonging to the relatively pure high-grade Tianfeng bloodline. The patriarch of the Feng family paused and said, but the Feng family once had a strong man who merged with the realm of heaven and man, but he was the purest and best quality heavenly phoenix bloodline. In the center of the crystal ball. And since the ancestor left, the Feng family has never had such a talented bloodline. I didn't expect your bloodline to be so powerful, Yanur. Yeah. No matter which family they are in, people with such bloodline will go far as long as they don't fall, an elder said with a kind smile. It seems that our Feng family will have another fusion-level powerhouse born in the future. Another elder laughed loudly. Everyone present sighed in their hearts, Fenyuixin's bloodline is really strong. They did not expect that Fenyuixin's daughter, who was left behind in the lower realm, was such a genius. Each and everyone was extremely excited. The people of the Feng family really didn't care whether Lumwian could benefit the Feng family or not. After all, they wouldn't let their blood flow out. But she has such a talent to lead the Feng family to glory, and they couldn't help but look forward to it. I'm going to send a message to the ancestor. Feng Patriarch took out a message with a look of excitement and excited it. With such a pure-blooded genius born in the family, the elders in the family will definitely recognize Lumwian even more. The next morning, Lumwian, accompanied by Fenyuixin and the rest of the Feng family, went to the Danta arena to participate in the second game. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 692. The private room that Lumwian was in this time was the same as before. After all, her pets were relatively free when they were alone, and she didn't like restraining them. The second game of Emperor Ming and his party also came, and everyone wanted to see how capable the daughter-in-law of Ming Xiu was. They are also more concerned about betting, and many princes want to see Ming Xiu lose and make a fool of himself. As soon as the time was up, the deputy tower owner of Zhongzhou appeared in the arena to announce the rules. In the first game, only 6 people with less than 5 points could not advance and be eliminated directly. The second game will be played among 44 of you, and those with less than 5 points in the game will still be eliminated. These 2 competitions compared the alchemy comprehension, skills, techniques, quality, and the rate of alchemy. The referee pointed to the competition table in front of the crowd and said, there are a total of 5th, 6th, and 7th grade medicinal herbs and herbs for refining. You can choose one of them. There is 1 material for the 5th grade, 2 for the 6th, and 3 for the 7th. If all the 6 materials are used up, they will be eliminated directly without success. This kind of competition, I hope you don't have to hide it. Although you can show your skills, don't try one after another if you can refine the 7th grade medicinal pills. The judgment is naturally the highest grade medicinal pills have the most advantages. Of course, don't deliberately pursue high level, otherwise you will lose your sense of normalcy. Choose the right one according to your level. This is the advice given to you by this old man. Okay, now the second game starts, and the time is 3 hours. Those who exceed the time will be eliminated directly with 0 points. After his voice fell, many people picked up the 3 pills one by one, and many people put down the first and third and began to think about the second. These 3 pills are not pills circulating on the market, but collected in the pill tower. Even Jojo has never seen them. Loom Wan also picked it up and took a look at it. She finally left the 7th grade pill recipe. She has never refined the medicinal pills on the pill recipe before, but she is familiar with every attribute of the spirit herbs above, so she does not find it difficult. She picked up a 7th grade medicinal herb on the table and threw all the spirit grass into the colorful glazed cauldron, and began to refine it. The others were amazed when they saw it. They had never seen such an alchemist before. Throwing all the spirit herbs into the pill furnace is obviously a failure. Only the alchemists from the Bizhu branch were not surprised by Loom Wan's sudden action. After all, they were also very surprised when they played in the branch before. They couldn't eat hot tofu in a hurry. The alchemists present were all good-natured. They were not in a hurry to make alchemy. They also guessed that Loom Wan's first material might be for testing, so they didn't compare the speed with her. In Danta's private room, the red-haired old man sitting in the middle was slightly surprised when he looked at Loom Wan's behavior. After thinking about it, he asked the deputy tower master who looked at Bizhu, she also used alchemy in the branch game before. Yes, she can mentally transform and refine multiple copies of spirit grass at the same time, and her fire control ability is also very strong. The deputy tower master of Bizhu showed admiration. The pagoda master gently rubbed the teacup he was holding with his fingers. The one she chose now is the 7th grade medicine pill. She was able to refine 6th grade high-grade medicinal pills before, and I guess she was a 7th grade alchemist at that time. Bizhu deputy tower master replied. The tower owner nodded slightly. Such a young and talented 7th rank alchemist is rare, and the Feng family has earned it. Other alchemists who competed with Loom Wan or those who watched might think that Loom Wan was just playing tricks or testing. Only they could see that she was using a special refining method. It is true that the strongest 7th grade alchemist in the Feng family has been worshipped for thousands of years. It is too difficult to improve, but Lu Girl obviously still has a lot of room for development, Bizhu tower owner said. Other high-level Danta also agreed, but they were not sure whether it could be refined, and it was not easy to draw conclusions. Although Loom Wan had never refined this kind of medicinal herb, she was able to use her skills and fire control skills perfectly, and quickly refined all the spiritual herbs in the pill furnace. As soon as she raised her head, she inadvertently glanced at Lan Ruoshui, who also raised her head at the same time, and the other party's icy eyes declared war on her. She originally only planned to refine 8 high-grade 7th grade high-grade medicinal pills at random, but she changed her mind when she thought that Ming Xiu's father Huang and the Feng family were also sitting in the private room. If she loses to Lan Ruoshui like this, Ming Xiu and her mother will lose face, not to mention that she is well known now, so there is no need to hide it. Let's face it with real level. Soon a cluster of crimson flames jumped out from her fingertips and jumped into the colorful glazed tripod. She can still use the spirit fire to refine the 7th grade medicinal pills, but the pill rate will be reduced by 2 or 3, but it will not affect the overall situation. Lan Ruoshui had just finished refining half of the spirit grass when she saw that Loom Wan had actually started to condense pills. She felt a lingering in her heart, but she didn't smell the muggy smell or muffled sound. It seemed that Loom Wan's strength was really good. She thought about it to speed up the refining. The piles of medicinal powder in the alchemy furnace gradually merged, Lum Wan's fire suddenly became bigger and smaller, and the fire control technology was that outsiders looked very elegant. After a cup of tea, she patted the colorful glazed tripod lightly. The furnace ding made a cheerful hum, and I saw the plump elixir that was white and smooth as jade flew out one by one and landed in the bottle prepared by the organizer. "I've made it," she handed the bottle containing the medicinal pill to the deputy referee not far away. The deputy referee hid the shock in his eyes and put the bottle on a tray and handed it to the first referees. Seeing Lum Wan refining the 7th grade medicinal pill so quickly, the people present were in an uproar. In Danta's private room. 12 top-grade 7th grade high-grade medicinal pills, she can be regarded as a peerless genius. This girl is wanted by our Dan Tower. The tower owner's deep and boundless eyes are full of light. The people present are all 8th rank alchemists, and they also judged the quality of the medicinal pills from the color and luster. The deputy tower owner of Bizhu didn't expect Lum Wan to be so powerful. He laughed and said, "The old man has been in contact with her before, but she said that she wants to wait until the alchemy competition is over before thinking about it. Be sure to dig her into the Danta." The tower owner thought about it and continued, "Let her come to see me after the alchemy competition is over." Okay, the deputy tower owner of Bizhu smiled. This girl was a good seedling he found. The private room of the royal family in the underworld. Emperor Hades belongs to the top of the strength of the entire Tianling continent, and naturally he can see the quality of the medicinal pills that Lum Wan refined. There was a deep smile in his eyes, thinking to himself that it is no wonder that his domineering and arrogant son would look at Lum Wan. Her alchemy talent is definitely a peerless genius for thousands of years. The daughter-in-law that the son found was talented and powerful, and he was naturally happy to be a father. If Lum Wan was just an empty vase of beauty, he would definitely not approve of his son marrying him back as a concubine, and she was the only one. After another half an hour, Lan Ruoshui's medicinal pills were released, and the medicinal pills flew out of the furnace, and there were as many as 12. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world. BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 693. Jojo, who was originally dedicated to condensing pills, discovered that not only did Lum Wan and Lan Ruoshui successfully refine the 7th grade pills, but they also felt pressured by 12 pills. He adjusted his mentality and gradually calmed down. After a cup of tea, the medicinal pills flew out of the furnace, a total of 10 pills. Lum Wan, Lan Ruoshui, and Jojo all chose the recipe for refining the 7th grade medicine pill, and they all succeeded one after another. Time passed little by little, and 3 hours passed quickly. All of the 44 people refined the medicinal pills within the specified time, and submitted them to the referee bench one by one. After a stick of incense, the referee announced the result with a list. First place, Lum Wan, scored 10 points. She chose the 7th grade pill recipe, which is perfect in terms of comprehension, skills, techniques, fire control accuracy, quality, and pill yield. A total of 12 high-grade 7th-grade high-grade medicinal pills have been refined. This is the peerless genius of the younger generation with the best talent that the old man and others have ever seen. Second place, Lan Ruoshui, scored 9 points. She chose a 7th grade alchemy recipe, and she refined a total of 12 high-grade 7th grade high-grade medicinal pills. Her talent is one of the best among the entire younger generation of alchemists. Comprehension, skills, techniques, control the fire accuracy, quality, and pill rate are all very well controlled. The third place, Jojo, scored 8 points. Soon the referee announced the results of the 44 people. This time, there was no one who scored less than 5 points, so they all entered the final game. And this result was beyond everyone's expectations. Lan Ruoshui was in high spirits and left the arena with a cold expression. She actually lost to Lum Wan in the second game. This fact caused a crack in her originally calm and stable heart, and she needed to go back and be quiet. There were people whispering in the outfield and in the private room, and the eyes and focus of everyone in the whole game became Lum Wan. Oh my god. 12 high-grade 7 rank high-grade medicinal pills, that Lum Wan is only 20 years old, he's actually so powerful. It's not that simple anymore, it's definitely a monster. What a perverted talent. I didn't expect the Feng family to hide such a peerless alchemy genius. No wonder she was not afraid of the Zhu family and the Lan family before. Yes. They are not only from the Feng family, but also the future concubine of the 9th prince. Only such a woman is worthy of a man as beautiful as the 9th prince. Indeed, Lum Wan is even better than Lan Ruoshui in terms of appearance, temperament, affinity, and talent, and now his background is almost the same as Lan Ruoshui. Although Lan Ruoshui is the county master, he has no protection from the seniors. Lum Wan has a mother who is integrated into the upper realm. Lan Ruoshui is cold and hard to approach, but Lum Wan felt very charming in the second round of treating people. If it was me, I would choose the latter. Of course, Lum Wan is also a stunning beauty, and the 9th Highness is very blessed. The private room of the royal family in the underworld. Ming Xiu's brows and eyes got a bit of a smile, looked at Emperor Ming and said, "Old man, your daughter-in-law is not bad." Emperor Hades looked at his son's rare demeanor and couldn't help but want to hold his forehead, but he nodded and said, "It's really good, then you can dig your daughter-in-law into our Ming Palace royal family." Such a young 7th rank high-level alchemist was also the target of the Nether Palace royal family. Although that was his son's daughter-in-law, he guessed that those old people would not let such a small evildoer go. Ming Xiu pouted, "Old man, you are too lenient." At the level of his father, he has long been immune to any peerless genius. If he sees something that is pleasing to the eye, people will win over to dig or recruit a disciple, but no matter how good the talent is, it will not catch the eye. Such an open desire to get his daughter-in-law to be an alchemist by the royal family of the underworld is beautiful. You stinky brat, if she joins the royal family of the underworld, what kind of training resources will she have? The underworld emperor was annoyed and said that he was cultivating in vain. Many of the princes and daughters present were very uncomfortable because Lum Wan took the first place again, and now they were even more angry when they heard the words of Emperor Ming so partial to meditation. Emperor Ming really loves Ming Xiu meticulously. Now he even spoils him with his daughter-in-law. The Feng family will not use Lum Wan's resources. Is it so biased? Ming Xiu naturally knew his father's thoughts, and refused with a smile, "My family Yanner prefers to rely on herself. I will help her accept your kindness, so that someone will not say it behind their back in the future." "Okay, do what you like." Emperor Ming gave Ming Xiu a blank look. He didn't believe that this rebellious son would be afraid of worrying about others speaking behind his back, and he must have something to do with Lum Wan. There was a slight arc on his lips that seemed to be vague. That little girl was a smart person. She knew that the muddy waters of the royal family in the underworld were not easy to navigate, she knew how to advance and retreat, and she had a good temperament. If anyone dares to talk nonsense about your daughter-in-law, you can just kill her. Hearing the words of Emperor Hades to maintain favoritism, the other princes and princesses present were stunned. It was more uncomfortable than eating flies. The third game was played the next day. After leaving the arena, Lum Wan found her second brother back as soon as she entered the private room. In her first game, because Mufeng mercenary group Buledin Zhan and others encountered danger, Lu Muting, the head of the mercenary group, naturally went to rescue. So under Mo Yan's order, Long Yao used the power of space to take him on a trip. He only came back today and missed yesterday's recognition of his relatives. However, Lum Wan still told her mother and the Feng family about Lu Muting. "Sister, you're really amazing." Lu Muting nodded lovingly on Lum Wan's nose and praised. Lum Wen took Lu Muting's hand, blinked her eyes and said, "I'll give you a surprise later." "What surprise?" Lu Muting asked in surprise. "You'll find out later," Lum Wen smiled. Then Lum Wen saw Lu Muting brought to Feng's private room. As soon as he opened the door, Lu Muting looked at the woman in white with a temperament like blue. "Mother," he blurted out without hesitation. Feng Yuexin smiled and said, "It's been a long time since I saw Muting. My family is much more calm and reserved." Of course Lu Muting stepped forward and hugged Feng Yuexin. "Mother, we all miss you so much, father misses you even more." Feng Yuexin's body froze, and she quickly suppressed her emotions. She touched Lu Muting's head and said, "Mother misses you very much too." When she was in the forbidden area, what she often thought of was the happy life of her family. When Lu Muting mentioned the name that had been kept in her heart, there were ripples, and she was thinking about him all the time. As soon as Lu Wen saw his mother's expression, he knew that even if the soul merged, his father was imprinted in his mother's heart. Feng Yuexin took Lu Muting to recognize her relatives one by one, and then returned to Feng's house in Zhongzhou City together. Lu Muting heard that Lu Wen had already tested the bloodline and also tested one. After his bloodline power was stimulated, it was not too low. The red color overflowed the entire crystal ball, which was similar to Feng Yuexin's year. This result also shocked the Feng family's patriarch and the other elders, and they were extremely excited. In the early morning of the next day, the group came to Dante's competition field to participate in the third game. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 694. Dante's third game is actually the key to deciding the finals, so the number of people watching the game today is doubled. The entire viewing area was filled with people, and there were still many people standing behind who had not bought seats, craned their necks and looked down. When Lu Wen entered the arena, she was greeted with complicated eyes from other players, and some people treated her with a friendly attitude and a gesture of wanting to make friends. She had a faint smile on her face and had the same attitude towards everyone. Soon, the referee appeared on the field. As soon as he appeared, the entire arena instantly quieted down, and the mask for soundproofing and isolating the breath was opened. Today is the last match of Dante's 50-year alchemy competition. This match is very crucial, and even has a key influence on who wins the championship. I hope you all will show your best strength today. The third game is purely free to play, so the contestants prepare the spirit herbs and pill recipes for alchemy. The level of the elixirs must not be lower than grade 6, and the time must not exceed 5 hours, otherwise they will be eliminated directly. There is no limit to the number of times, as long as the medicinal pill is refined within 5 hours. Okay, now the third game officially begins. As soon as his voice fell, the contestants present took out the spirit grasses that had been prepared for a long time and began to refine them one by one calmly. Lan Ruoshui and Lu Wen did not act immediately. What I want to refine is the 8th grade medicinal pill. If you can only refine the 7th grade high grade medicinal pill, you will definitely lose. Lan Ruoshui raised her head and looked at Lu Wen coldly. Lu Wen chuckled lightly. Unfortunately, what I'm going to refine today is also an 8th grade medicinal pill. It's not certain who wins or loses. Then let's have a showdown. Lan Ruoshui's expression was still cold, but there was a little more confidence and pride. Lu Wen's face was full of smiles, and her whole body was full of confidence. Okay. The other contestants, including Jojo, only smiled bitterly when they heard the conversation between the two. Today's battlefield is bound to be just a showdown between two beauties with different temperaments, and they are the green leaves who came to foil. The people in the private room could naturally hear the conversation between the two. Some high-level executives who knew that Lan Ruoshui was an 8th grade alchemist was not surprised that she would be so confident, but Lu Wen exceeded everyone's expectations. A 20-year-old rank 8 alchemist felt unrealistic. After all, although Lan Ruoshui looked around 20, She was actually 35 years old. Of course, 35 years old is very young for 1,000 years or even 10,000 years. Lan Ruoshui took the lead in taking out an 8th grade spirit grass, and it didn't take long before she hit the 8th grade alchemist, and could only refine 8th grade elementary level medicinal herbs, which was also her limit. Immediately, she took out an ice blue cauldron, and a cluster of sky blue flames popped out of her hands and fell into the cauldron, and she began to refine them one by one. Spiritual fire, Lan Ruoshui really has a spiritual fire. This was already guessed by the people present, although Lan Ruoshui had never used spirit fire before. As soon as Lum Wen swept away the elixir refined by Lan Ruoshui, she knew that it was the primary 8th grade. After thinking about it, she decided to refine the elixir of the 8th grade intermediate. First, it is to fight with the strongest strength, which is to respect the opponent. Secondly, it also makes her mother and Mingxiu have long faces. Thirdly, her family Mingxiu has a big bet with other princes and princesses, and she must win. Fourth, she and spirit pets also bought and won in major casinos. The colorful glazed cauldron flew out of her body, and from the bell space, she took out the refining spirit grass of the 8th level, and Lum Wen also began to refine it. Magical instruments such as natal instruments, natal array plates and colorful glazed tripods all need to be stored in the dungeon. Refining high-quality 8th grade medicinal herbs, the fire energy in her body is obviously not enough. She is determined. A purple gold fire unicorn flew out from the eyebrows and fell directly into the colorful glazed tripod. What a powerful spirit fire! Oh my god! Lum Wen actually has a spirit fire. How old is she? She has conquered such a strong spirit fire at such an age, and her talent is too perverted. Yeah. I heard that to conquer the power of such flames, you need a strong body to prevent it from bursting. She is indeed a member of the Feng family. She must also be a body cultivator. I can feel the power of the spirit fire in Lum Wen's body from so far away and with the blessing of the mask. Lan Ruoshui wants to win. Isn't it? I repaid 10 million spirit stones to buy Lan Ruoshui in the underground casino in the dark market to win. If Lum Wen wins, won't I lose miserably? Me too, I also bet Lan Ruoshui in the underground casino. Damn, you still have more than half of the hope of winning by betting on Lan Ruoshui. At least Lan Ruoshui is a veritable 8th grade alchemist. Lum Wen may not be able to refine 8th grade pills, but I bet on Jojo. How could you bet Jojo? Although he is good, he is not as good as Lan Ruoshui. His odds are higher than Lan Ruoshui. I think he is a new talent in Danta and might be able to give it a shot. Brother, I mourn for you. A lot of people were talking about the outcome of the game. Many people bet in major casinos, and 90% of them bet on Lan Ruoshui to win the championship. In Lum Wen's small private room, Bingji had a dazed look on his face. Stinky bird, what are you laughing at? Long Yao asked curiously, seeing that the smile on Bingji's face could not be concealed. Bingji glanced at him smugly and said, I bet all my worth on the master in the underground casino and won, this time. What? You stinky bird went to bed and didn't call me. Long Yao glared at him. Bingji carefully looked at Mo Yan, who was lying on his back, and said, Boss Mo told me to go to the major casinos to bet on the owner to win, and I'll put down all of my net worth together by the way. What are you doing? We also bet on the master to win. Meow Meow also said with a smug smile. Shui Shue and Chi Wang's belongings were also bet on Bingji. Long Yao looked at Mo Yan with a look of resentment. You are biased. Mo Yan raised his eyes lightly. That's why you are stupid. Long Yao only heard the sound of heartbreak. Can he still play well? You haven't come yet. When we bet, Lei Huang hooked his lips. We bet before the game, and we must be able to make crazy money this time. They all bought Lum Wen before the competition to win the championship. At that time, Lum Wen had not yet shown his strength, and the odds were very high. 1 to 100, they were really going to make crazy money this time. At this time, all spiritual pets praised Boss Mo's wisdom in their hearts. "Can I still buy it now?" Long Yao said bitterly. "Buy a shit, the bets in the major casinos are long over now." Bing Ji gave him a white look, "Really stupid." Long Yao pouted, regretting to death in his heart. He should have gone to the inn to find the hostess before the start of the game, so that he could also get advice from Boss Mo. He lost a lot this time. After this incident, he also became more determined in his heart that he must follow Mo Boss, so that the future will be bright. "My evil Imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant." Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 695. Both Lum Wan and Lan Ruoshui made 8th-grade medicinal pills, and such medicinal pills were just legends to many alchemists. They stared at the two of them attentively, especially Lan Ruoshui. After all, Lum Wan threw all the spirit herbs into the alchemy furnace for refining, and many people couldn't understand fire control. Lan Ruoshui's technique is also very clever. The 5th and 6th alchemists can only spy out a little bit, but the 7th alchemist can understand a little more. Jojo is a talented leader of the younger generation of Danta, but he is a step behind Lan Ruoshui and Lum Wan. He saw that the two of them were very skilled in refining the 8th-grade pills, and he wanted to watch them, so he accelerated the refining. "Make your own 7th-grade high-grade medicinal pills." He wanted to stop and watch the two of them make alchemy first, but he was carrying the responsibility. The champion and the runner-up couldn't compete. After Lan Ruoshui and Lum Wan started alchemy, they stopped observing each other, and all their minds were focused on the alchemy process. Time passed by, and many of the 44 people had stopped what they were doing and looked at them intently. 5 hours is not short, they still have the opportunity to refine, but it may be a lifetime regret to miss such an 8th-grade alchemist. In addition to alchemy in public at alchemy competitions, alchemists usually make alchemy alone behind closed doors, and there is no chance for others to watch. Lum Wan and Lan Ruoshui's techniques and skills are very consummate. Danta and many other big forces with capital have taken out the formation memory crystal to record their alchemy process. In Danta's private room, the Tower Master's eyes showed admiration. These two girls are too talented in alchemy, especially Lum Wan. If the old man is not mistaken, she should be refining the 8th-grade intermediate medicine. What? Rank 8 intermediate, the high-level Danta who were present couldn't help but be shocked. Among them were 2 rank 8 primary alchemists, 3 rank 8 intermediate alchemists, and 2 senior rank 8 alchemists, and only the Tower Master was a rank 9 alchemist. If these two girls were successfully refined, wouldn't the strength of alchemy be almost the same as theirs? There are talented people in the country, and a new generation replaces the old. An old man sighed, and seemed relieved. "We are really old." The main reason is that this year's alchemy competition produced such two geniuses. In the past alchemy competitions, 8th-rank alchemists were rarely born, said a middle-aged man. Yes, especially the girl named Lum Wan. Her fire control skills and refining techniques are very superb. I am ashamed. Only the Tower Master can teach such a genius, the alchemist sighed. The tower owner smiled and shook his head and said, Lum Wan's talent is excellent, and his alchemy skills are at the master level. Even I can't be her master. This kind of talent may not take many years to be equal to his current alchemy strength. How can he be her master? We Danta must win over such talents. Half of her may become a 9th-rank alchemist in the future, then the Tower Master added. The deputy tower owner of Bizhu nodded firmly. I will communicate with her after the game is over. As long as we can fulfill the conditions she proposed, we will satisfy her, the tower owner said after a moment of silence. Yes. By the way, Lan Ruoshui also continued to recruit. She has no sense of belonging to the Lan family, the Tower Master paused and said. Another old man replied, I have contacted her before, and she has a 50% chance of joining Danta. Very good. The private room of the mercenary union. A tall and straight middle-aged brown-haired man stared at the spar screen, and after a while asked Enyukian, what was the result of your previous contact with Lum Wian? His voice was loud and high-pitched with a calm like a mountain of strength, and the momentum that he held all over his body could not be ignored. Reporting to the president, she may feel that the conditions we offered before are not enough, so she has not agreed to join the central hall of the mercenary trade union. Enyukian paused and said, but judging from how the disciple has gotten along with her for half a year, she is still more interested in the mercenary union. To recruit her into the central hall of the mercenary union at all costs, such a talent can't be cheap for Danta and several other major forces, the president said casually. President, she is a member of the Feng family and the future prince concubine of the 9th prince. The Nether Palace royal family should not let such a genius go, said a beautiful woman next to the president. This girl is very smart. She will not choose the royal family of the underworld. That way, she will be restrained a lot because of the relationship between the underworld cultivators. How can the display space be compared with our major forces? The president said calmly. That's right, this girl is not bad. Our mercenary union is short of rank 8 alchemists, the beautiful woman agreed. This situation was staged in several private rooms, and many big forces were gearing up to recruit Lum Wian and Lan Ruoshui. In addition to Emperor Ming's private room, there is another high-level private room in the royal family of the Underworld Palace. At this time, they are also discussing how to recruit Lum Wian. An hour later, when Lum Wian finished condensing the pill, she did not immediately remove the spirit fire and continued to bake repeatedly. After another stick of incense, she removed the spirit fire from the colorful glazed cauldron, and the golden elixir like the sun leaped out from the cauldron happily. The medicinal pills were suspended in mid-air for a while before being collected by Lum Wian into the pill bottle one by one. After she handed the pill bottle to the deputy referee, she stepped aside to adjust her breath. Another hour later, Lan Ruoshui's medicinal pill was also successfully refined. After watching the two people refining the 8th grade medicinal herbs, many contestants showed thoughtful expressions, especially Jojo, who felt the deepest feeling. After a total of 5 hours, the last game ended. The chief referee in the first seat is grading the pills of the participating alchemists one by one. This process takes a long time. Another half an hour passed, and the eyes of the referee, who had always maintained a calm expression, were filled with excitement. The final round of this alchemy competition has officially ended. I am honored to host this competition, so I can see the dazzling talents among the younger generation. Now I announce the final results of this competition. The third place, Jojo, refined 5 high-grade 7-grade medicinal pills and scored 8 points. The total score of the 3 assessments was 32 points, making him the third runner-up in this alchemy competition. The second place, Lan Ruoshui, refined 5 8th-grade middle-grade elementary medicinal pills, and scored 9 points. The total score of the 3 assessments was 36 points, making him the runner-up in this alchemy competition. The first place, Lum Wian, refined 10 8th-grade top-grade intermediate-level medicinal pills, Jiniang pill, and scored 10 points. The total score of the 3 assessments was 40 points, and he was the champion of this session. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 696. The referee's voice constantly echoed in the competition hall. There was a brief silence in the entire audience, followed by an uproar. Oh my god! The champion is actually Lum Wian, she is only 20 years old. A 20-year-old 8th rank intermediate alchemist, I have never heard of such a perverted person in history. She is definitely the first person in the younger generation to concoct alchemy. No, There are many people in the older generation who are not as talented as her in alchemy. The chief elder of my family is just a 7th grade alchemist. How can the chief elder of your family be compared with Lum Wan? She has already reached the 8th rank intermediate alchemy master at this age. With such talent, it is very likely that she will become a 9th level alchemist in the future. My 10 million spirit stones have just been lost, one of them wailed. Many people reacted that they also bought Lan Ruoshui to win, so many people in the audience wanted to beat the ground in grief. Haha. Someone suddenly laughed wildly. Why are you so happy? The person next to him asked. When I went to the underground casino to bet, I reversed the serial numbers of Lum Wan and Lan Ruoshui, and I didn't know until I bought all the belongings. I was about to cry, but they just wouldn't replace it for me. Fortunately, it's fortunate that the casino's people blasted me out to sea. The man continued to laugh wildly. It's really God's fault, I made a profit this time. At this time, many people looked at this person with envy and hatred. Is it possible to have such good luck? Why didn't they accidentally buy the wrong one? In Feng's private room, the head of the Feng family and the other senior members of the Feng family were completely stunned. Yanner turned out to be an 8th rank intermediate alchemist. The Feng family patriarch looked at Feng Yuexin in disbelief and asked. Feng Yuexin smiled and nodded. Well, she was also promoted to the 8th rank alchemist after she flew to the Guangling realm. She was so proud of her daughter's ability. Okay, the head of the Feng family patted the table excitedly. Our Feng family has always been famous in the mainland for its body refining skills. I didn't expect such a bloodline with excellent alchemy talent. Little sister, you really gave birth to a good daughter. Feng Yuexin glanced at the head of the Feng family. Big brother, don't get too complacent. Haha. Sitting next to Feng Yuexin, Lu Muting looked at his uncle and the others with excitement, thinking that if they knew that Yanner could also set up formations, refine utensils, make talismans, and spirit wine, they would be crazy. The private room of the royal family in the underworld. Ming Xiu looked at all the royal brothers indifferently, and said leisurely, I would like to admit defeat, and take all your bets. The other people were not in a good mood, but they still held back their smiles, because with Emperor Hades, they were willing to pay their bets quickly after admitting defeat. Although the bet was relatively large at the time, it was still very distressing to lose, but it was not as painful as Ming Xiu finding such a powerful future princess. I originally thought that she was just a beautiful girl who had ascended from the lower realm and had no background. Who would have thought that she would become the daughter of Feng Yuexin from the Feng family, and now she is still an 8th rank intermediate alchemist. They also want to find such a princess. Old man, bring the essence of fire. Ming Xiu accepted the other people's bets, and then stretched out his hand in front of his father. Emperor Ming gave him a happy look. I can still rely on you. Then a small red ball appeared in front of Hades and was caught by Ming Xiu. Old man, give me a few more spirit primordial fruits, Ming Xiu said with a smile. Emperor Hades said amusingly, why is your daughter-in-law an alchemist? Lingyuan Lingyuan fruit is the main ingredient for the brewing of high-grade spirit wine, and he still wants to keep it for the royal family's dedicated spirit wine master to make wine. Of course it's wine, Ming Xiu said with an arrogant smile. Wine making? Is your daughter-in-law still a sommelier? Emperor Hades asked in surprise. Ming Xiu smiled happily, that's natural. I'll call your daughter-in-law over and I'll take a closer look. Emperor Hades smiled while restraining the strange look in his eyes. I'll go ask. Ming Xiu also wanted to scrape more things from Emperor Underworld for Lum Wan. Emperor Underworld said angrily, you are so shameful, you can just go and pull it up, why don't you ask? I can't beat my mother-in-law, Ming Xiu said lazily. Emperor Ming also knew Feng Yuexin's temper, so he joked helplessly, you can indulge, and your daughter-in-law will directly press you on the head in the future. I'm happy to spoil my daughter-in-law. Ming Xiu smiled indifferently, but still enjoyed it. Emperor Hades was so speechless when he saw such a son, it was really worthless. The other princes also felt that they knew Mingxiu on the first day, and their ninth brother actually knew how to please women like this, really. Lum Wan received a voice transmission from Mingxiu after she got the prize of the championship. After thinking about it, she decided to visit her future father-in-law. Just after walking a few steps, he found Lan Ruoshui's deep and cold eyes, which contained scrutiny and complexity. I will surpass you one day. Lan Ruoshui's pride did not allow her to bow her head to Lum Wan, but she still acknowledged the opponent's strength in her heart, and she would strive for Lum Wan's goal of overtaking. Okay. I'll wait for you. Lum Wan nodded. Although she has no feelings for Lan Ruoshui, she still recognizes Lan Ruoshui's strength. Having such an opponent reminds her that she can't relax. The two then walked away. Lum Wan only went up to the third floor, and Mingxiu walked out of the private room. Yan'er, congratulations on winning the championship. Mingxiu took Lum Wan's hand and kissed her forehead. Lum Wan smiled and rubbed his head against Mingxiu's neck. Thank you. Follow me to see the royal father. Mingxiu looked at Lum Wan with tenderness in his eyes and said, as for the other royal brothers and sisters, if you don't like them, you can ignore them. Okay, Lum Wan nodded. She was never someone who would wrong herself. Mingxiu pulled the stunning and alluring Lum Wan into the private room with a spring breeze and a smile on his face. The people present saw that the two were in perfect harmony in terms of tacit understanding and aura, and they had to sigh that they were a natural couple. Several princes who did not deal with Mingxiu were very uncomfortable, especially the second prince. The second prince has already married the prince's concubine. Originally, he was better than the other brothers' concubines or side concubines in terms of family background and beauty, but now, when he compares with Lum Wan, he can see that no matter what point of view, he is inferior. This made him very angry. Lum Wan has met Emperor Ming. Lum Wan walked up to Emperor Ming and saluted. Emperor Hades smiled lovingly and said, "Sit." Now Mingxiu and Lum Wan are not yet engaged, so it would be too early for her to be called Father Huang. Mingxiu pulled Lum Wan to sit down, looked up at Emperor Ming and said, "Old man, you should give a gift when you meet your daughter-in-law." The corners of Emperor Ming's mouth twitched. People said that giving birth to a daughter is outgoing, and most of them will focus on the husband's family. How could he be so outgoing when he gave birth to a son? He simply wanted to give his daughter-in-law all his good things. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 697. Mingxiu asked for a gift from Emperor Ming, and the other princes were envious. You must know that after they get married, their wives will not see the Emperor Hades until the next day. On that day, Emperor Hades will give items according to their moods. After that, it is difficult to even meet, let alone ask for things. They wanted to ask for something from Emperor Hades, but they didn't have the guts, except for Mingxiu, who dared to be presumptuous in front of Emperor Hades. There was once a princess who tried to compete with Mingxiu because of Emperor Ming's little favor, and secretly wanted to practice Yin Ming. In the end, Emperor Ming was furious, and the princess was directly deprived of the title of princess and relegated to civilians. To a remote place. Since then, no princes and princesses dared to test the bottom line of Emperor Hades. He was strong enough to protect the son he liked, and he was not afraid of them making small moves behind his back. The occasional little trouble Hades would be used as a spice for his precious 9 sons, but if anyone dared to step on his bottom line, the end would definitely be miserable. You stinky boy, the daughter-in-law started to shave Laozi's things before he got married. Emperor Hades gave him an angry look. The rogue Mingxiu shrugged his shoulders and smiled, who let the old man have the most treasures, who will I go to if I don't take your things? Emperor Ming was too lazy to care about him, looked at Lum Wan gently and asked, I heard that you are a sommelier. Well, I am. Lum Wan nodded obediently. How many? Hades continued to ask. 8th rank Lum Wan didn't hide it. Hearing that the prince and princess who were present at this rank all widened their eyes and showed disbelief. You must know that in the Guangling world and even other interfaces, spirit sommeliers are the most precious and rare. Although there are not many people who can reach 8th rank alchemy masters, they are not poor, but spirit sommeliers are completely different. The 8th rank spirit sommelier has simply stood at the high-end level of the spirit wine world in the Guangling world. After all, they have only one 8th rank senior spirit sommelier in the royal family of the Underworld Palace, usually only for the Underworld Emperor and seclusion in the forbidden area of the royal family. The few ancestors inside served. The 9 spirit sommeliers had never even heard of them. Emperor Hades also showed a little bit of surprise. He thought about it and smiled and said, I have a few spirit essence fruit here. If you can use one to refine the spirit wine of the 8th grade, I will give you all of them. There was not much doubt in his words, but asking Lum Wan to make dust spirit wine from spirit essence fruit was actually a kind of temptation. Lum Wan's eyes lit up. Lingyuan fruit is the main ingredient for refining the 8th grade spirit wine. Regular drinking can not only improve the cultivation to pure spirit power, but also quench the body, which is good for the strong infusion. Spiritual wine is more popular than medicinal pills, mainly because the limited cultivation base spans a lot. For example, the 8th grade medicinal herbs are not very helpful to the powerhouses in the fusion realm. They need to take the 9th grade medicinal herbs to improve their cultivation, but the spirit wine is different. If the 8th grade spirit wine is often consumed, it will have many benefits for the strong in the fusion realm, and it can still help to purify the original energy. Long-term drinking of spirit wine is not only non-toxic, but can also improve various functions in the body. For the strong people in the fusion realm, the 8th grade medicinal herbs have long been unable to help them improve their energy and body, but the 8th grade spirit wine does not. Can. After all, there are not many alchemists of the 9th rank in the Guangling world, and there is only one alchemist in the royal family of the underworld who lives in a seclusion and does not make frequent shots. Therefore, for the demand for the 8th rank spirit wine, there are more powerhouses in the fusion state. Of course, drinking 1 or 2 pots of spirit wine of the 8th rank is definitely beneficial to the powerhouses in the Tianyuan realm, but it is of very little use to the powerhouses in the fusion realm, so what they are after is a certain amount of accumulation. Okay. Then thank you Emperor Ming. Lum Wan accepted with a smile. The spiritual fruit of Lingyuanqiu is not something that ordinary people can get. I heard that it will only appear when you go to an extremely dangerous secret realm. Only those who are above the upper realm can dare to go deep. Are you brewing it now? Or do you brew it later? Emperor Hades asked with a light smile. In fact, he naturally hoped that Lum Wan would brew it in front of him, and it was indeed very suspenseful that she was an 8th grade spirit sommelier. I'll brew it now. Lum Wan could guess the thoughts of Underworld Emperor's people. By brewing it here, she can not only show her ability, but also make her face slender for her family, and it can also make the Emperor Ming immediately fulfill his promise to give her all the spirits. The ice bracelet has been continuously upgraded, and now high-level spirit fruit trees like Lingyuan fruit can be planted and cultivated. As long as she keeps the core, she can quickly brew a large amount of 8th grade Lingyuan fruit wine. As soon as Lum Wan's voice fell, there were several knocks on the door of the private room. A servant opened the door and saw several people with extraordinary temperament walk in. Among them, 2 are royal elders in another private room of the royal family in the Underworld Palace, and the others are the tower owner of the Dan Tower, the pavilion owner of the Refining Pavilion, the leader of the Array Alliance, the chairman of the Beast Masters Union, and the Mercenary Union's chairman. Emperor Hades, long time no see. The president of the Mercenary Union strode to the vacant seat opposite Hades and said with a smile. The princes and princesses who were sitting around Emperor Hades stood up one after another to give up their seats, joking that these few were the most powerful beings in the entire continent. "Why are you old guys here?" Hades said with a half smile. He snorted coldly in his heart, these old guys must have watched Lum Wan being brought into his private room by Ming Xiu before digging the corner. However, he had no plans to let Lum Wan stay in the royal family of the Underworld Palace, so he was happy to see a few people rob his daughter-in-law. It's not that the royal family of the Nether Palace does not need a talent like Lum Wan, who is absolutely talented in alchemy, but that he doesn't want his son to be restrained by the old things of the Nether Palace when he takes a daughter-in-law. If Lum Wan has a wider space for development in other forces, in the future, he will not be associated with his son with the color of interest. Besides, he could also see that Lum Wan did not want to join the royal family of the underworld. Although he is the emperor of the Nether Palace royal family, he is also a father. The only son he likes is as long as he lives happily and arrogantly. Everything is supported by his father. We haven't been together for a long time, and we just came over to catch up, the tower owner of Danta said with a shrewd smile. Several other people rudely sat in the position before the princes. They heard that Lum Wan came to Emperor Ming's private room and wanted to come and explore the truth. Such talents can't be dug up by the royal family of the Ming Palace. The Underworld Emperor's handsome face showed a restrained deep feeling, and he smiled harmlessly. That's a coincidence, my daughter-in-law is just about to brew spirit wine, and you are blessed today. The more powerful his daughter-in-law is, the more he likes it. Since he wants to join other forces, he doesn't mind helping her. Making spirit wine, the tower owner of Danta smiled and looked at Lum Wan with great interest. I didn't expect this girl to be a famous spirit wine master. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 698. Emperor Hades had a slightly smug look, nodding his head and smiling as a default. Although Lu Mu said on the cigarette holder that he was a winemaker of the 8th grade, he believed most of it in his heart, but it was better not to say it first. First, he was afraid that Lum Wan would make mistakes and lose face if he couldn't brew it. Second, he also wanted to give a big surprise to a few old people. Haha. The leader of the Formation Alliance is a bold-looking middle-aged man. He said with a hearty smile, I like to drink spirit wine the most. Then he put his eyes on Lum Wan and asked, I don't know what kind of spirit wine the little girl wants to make. Others also looked at Lum Wan with some anticipation in their eyes. I just got a spirit essence fruit from His Majesty the Underworld Emperor, so let's use it to brew. Lum Wan responded with a neat and generous smile. Her attitude is very modest, neither humble nor overbearing, which makes the strong people present even more admired. It's actually brewed with Lingyuan fruit, I'm really looking forward to it, the tower owner of Danta said with a smile while touching his beard. He thought in his heart that Emperor Hades really deserved to be the famous 9th prince who favored him, and now it is a luxury to give such high-grade and rare spiritual fruits as Lingyuan Kyo to his future daughter-in-law to make wine. Everyone else and the tower owner of the Dan Tower have the same idea. After all, they never thought that Lum Wan could brew 8th-grade spirit wine, and their heart limit was 7th grade at most. The spirit essence fruit can be used to brew the 7th grade spirit wine, but such an approach would be very extravagant and wasteful, and it would not bring out the spirituality in the fruit at all. However, it is not bad to be able to taste the spirit wine brewed from the spirit essence fruit. Anyway, the Underworld Emperor will not collect money from them. The most important thing is that they also want to see if Lum Wan can really brew spirit wine. If she is a high-level 6th or 7th grade winemaker, the value of her solicitation will be much greater. Lum Wan has a very good quality in her heart, and she has no stage fright in front of these big guys, but instead, her whole body is more confident. Then Wan was embarrassed in front of several seniors. Lum Wan smiled modestly. Haha. The sommelier is not something that ordinary people can be. Even if the little girl uses your skills to brew it, maybe there will be unexpected harvests, the president of the mercenary trade union said with a smile. Emperor Hades immediately looked at Lum Wan with a loving smile and said, Girl, you can play, These old guys' good things are richer than mine, and they will brew high-grade spirit wine later. Gifts are unavoidable. Such a dazzling need is exactly the same as that of Ming Xiu. For his own family, Emperor Ming takes great care of him. The other people twitched the corners of their mouths, and Emperor Hades could really climb along the pole, but he all spoke up, and they couldn't be stingy. Okay, brew good wine and come to Lao Fu Ding to exchange for good things, the tower owner of Danta said cheerfully. As long as Lum Wan brews spirit wine, he is ready to give something away. After all, he has the heart to dig the corner of Emperor Underworld. Of course, what he gave also depended on the grade of spirit wine that Lum Wan brewed. As long as she reached the 7th rank, he would give her a big gift. Even if Lum Wan did not choose Danta later, when she was promoted to the 8th grade winemaker, he would ask her to make spirit wine. Several other people also had the same thoughts, and they all agreed with it boldly, and all the princes and princesses who saw it were envious. The second prince and several other princes who did not deal with Ming Xiu were envious, jealous, and hateful. This arrogant and cold-hearted 9th brother had really vicious eyes. To be able to find such a beautiful, talented, and powerful woman after training in the lower realms is truly amazing. Popular dead. Lum Wan nodded and smiled, then I would like to thank the seniors for their kindness. The elders are indescribable, and she still understands this truth. Moreover, these old guys are all rich and have countless good things, and it is not a loss to exchange 8th grade spirit wine, so she is not hypocritical. The private room is very big. Lum Wan walked not far ahead, and removed a table specially made of spar and something for wine from the space ring. She first took out the spirit grass and refined a few 8-tasting wine pills suitable for Ling Yuan wine. Then she crushed the spiritual fruit given by the Underworld Emperor and threw it into the wine cauldron for refining. When the green clear liquid took shape, she poured it out. At the same time, he took out a lot of 8-level spirit grass and threw it into the pill furnace to refine it into a liquid. After all the ingredients were refined into liquid, she thought about it and said to the Underworld Emperor, I wonder if your majesty has high-grade spiritual water? Spiritual wine tasting will be slightly worse. Yes, take it and use it. Emperor Hades waved his hand, and a jar of white jade spirit water fell on the table. Several other bigwigs were shocked when they heard that. Is she going to make 8th grade spirit wine? This is too incredible. Lum Wan took the spirit water with a smile, paused and asked again, do your majesty and some seniors like red bee royal jelly? If you put a little bit of it, the taste will be more mellow. I don't have the royal jelly of the red bee. Emperor Hades shook his head and said, it takes at least 1,000 years of royal jelly to match the 8th grade spirit wine, and such spirits can be encountered but not sought after. Neither do I. Several other strong men shook their heads regretfully. Red wasps are generally very well hidden, and they live in groups, and it is difficult to find 1,000-year-old royal jelly. Lum Wan smiled and said, I have 1,000-year-old royal jelly. If your majesty and a few seniors like it, I can add some to brew it. Emperor Hades replied with a smile, okay, the 1,000-year-old royal jelly is also good for me. Lum Wan smiled and nodded, and took out a jar of royal jelly that had been sealed for a long time. This jar is the essence of royal jelly in the deepest part of the red bee's hive. She is usually reluctant to take it out to drink it. Then she poured part of the royal jelly into the wine cauldron, and used pure internal force to hold the wine cauldron and shake it to evenly distribute the medicinal liquid. When the medicinal liquid and the royal jelly were thoroughly fused, she threw the wine pill in, and when she turned her palm, a cluster of purple gold flames jumped out. With a serious look on her face, she was very careful every time she mobilized the flame, and she completely entered a state of ecstasy, as if no one around existed. She did not have the slightest slack in the whole process from refining Ling Yuan fruit to fusion distillation, as if she had done it many times. Flowing clouds and flowing water are pleasing to the eye. An hour later, a refreshing fragrance of wine spread from the wine cauldron and spread out in the private room. The eyes of several bigwigs, including the underworld emperor, all had a shocking light in their eyes, and they couldn't help but want to pour a glass to satisfy their appetite when they smelled the sweet wine. After another moment, the 8th grade Lingyuan fruit wine was successfully brewed. Lum Wen did not open the wine cauldron immediately, but wrapped the entire wine cauldron with ice energy, and a layer of frost condensed. Brewing such a level of spirit wine is still quite exhausting, and a thin layer of sweat broke out from her forehead and nose. She slightly hooked her lips and looked at a few people and said, "Lingyuan fruit wine has been brewed successfully, and the effect will be better after it has been chilled for half an hour. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 699. The mellow and cold aroma of wine overflowed in the private room. 8th grade Lingyuan wine. The tower owner of Danta sighed with a hint of light in his eyes. I didn't expect this girl to have such a talent for winemaking at such a young age. There is only one rank 8 spirit sommelier in the Dan Tower. If they want to invite that person to brew spirit wine, they all have to pay a lot. This girl who is only 20 years old is actually a rank 8 spirit sommelier. Simply challenge their cognition. The president of the mercenary union nodded meaningfully. Little girl's talent is against the sky. Several other bigwigs also praised it. 8th grade spirit wine masters are too rare. Even if they can't recruit under their own power, it is necessary to make good friends with them. They all like spirit wine. Sword masters can achieve fasting if they reach a certain level of cultivation. Most of the strong people's satisfaction for their appetites comes from spirit wine. There are very few strong people in the Guangling world who do not love spirit wine. Emperor Ming couldn't hide his admiration in his eyes. He smiled proudly. So it's still my son who has vision. There is such a daughter-in-law of an 8th grade spirit wine master, and if he wants to make spirit wine, he doesn't need to carry a bunch of spirits to find the stubborn old thing in the royal family. Hearing the Emperor Hades, the other people had the urge to beat him. The eyes of the 2 elders of the royal family who followed in the Nether Palace also flashed with fiery light. Although His Royal Highness the 9th Prince is usually a little arrogant and domineering, the vision for finding a woman is really good. If Lum Wen could join the Nether Palace royal family, the 8th rank sommelier in the clan should not be so attractive. With the high-grade spirit wine provided all year round, many masters can be born in the clan. Long-term use of spirit wine is much better than taking medicinal pills of the same level. Lum Wen just smiled humbly and did not answer the praises of these powerful bosses. The reason why she brewed spirit wine came from the experience of the previous life, otherwise it would be impossible to become an 8th rank spirit sommelier. Half an hour later, Lum Wen thawed the frost of the wine cauldron under the fiery gazes of several strong men in the private room. The layer of frost on the wine cauldron melted little by little, and the aroma of the wine became more mellow and deep. Several strong men felt that the round worms in their stomachs were about to be hooked out. Open the wine cauldron, and a clear light green liquid lies quietly in it. Lum Wen's mind moved, and the liquid in the wine cauldron automatically flew from the cauldron and fell into the wine jug she had prepared for a long time. She is very efficient at brewing spirit wine, and a single tripod of wine can fill 5 jugs. She picked up one of the jugs and poured a glass for each of the powerful men. Emperor Hades picked up the wine glass and smelled it first, then took a sip carefully. His eyes became brighter and brighter. Good wine, this quality is more mellow than the old thing in the royal family. Several others raised their wine glasses and complimented them. After adding the Millennium Royal Jelly, not only does it not have the fragrant fragrance of the spirit and the fruit, but it makes the alcohol taste more intense, and the combination is seamless. Danta Pagoda praised. This 8th grade spirit wine is brewed with high purity, and it has a cold feeling. It is the spirit wine with the best taste that this old man has ever drunk. The president of the mercenary union drank the spirit wine in one gulp. Little girl, have another drink. Lu Muan worked hard and poured another glass for him, and the others immediately drank the wine and asked for a refill. When the president of the mercenary union wanted to refill the cup again, Emperor Hades reached out and stopped him. You old people don't just want to drink like this, right? Emperor Underworld, although this is your private room, the spirit wine is brewed by Lu Girl, said the leader of the Formation Alliance. Emperor Ming raised his eyebrows and smiled. These pots of spirit wine are all mine. You can ask Lu Girl if you can't. Everyone else turned their attention to Lu Muan. Before, His Majesty the Underworld Emperor took out a spirit essence fruit and let me brew it. If he could brew an 8th-grade spirit wine in exchange, he would give me the remaining spirit essence fruit, so these jugs of wine are indeed His Majesty's. Yes, Lu Muan replied with a slight smile. Emperor Underworld, there are 5 pots of spirit wine here. You won't be so stingy, right? The president of the Beast Masters Guild is still having a lot of aftertastes. He hasn't had enough. Emperor Hades glanced at him and replied, you old people keep refilling, but you've already drank a pot of mine. Mean. Young girl is your daughter-in-law, just say something when you want to drink spirit wine. Let us drink these pots of spirit wine, said the pavilion master of the refining pavilion, who had never spoken much. Before Emperor Ming could speak, Ming Xiu said, my daughter-in-law usually has a lot of things to do, but she doesn't have so much time to brew spirit wine. Even if my father wants to drink it, there is a price to pay. Don't blackmail these old things to blackmail anyone. Emperor Hades twitched the corners of his mouth. What did he do in his previous life to give birth to such an outgoing son of a boy? He was blatantly blackmailing others for his support, and he even used him as a raft. That's natural. Although Mu Yan is my future daughter-in-law, this emperor never takes advantage of me, Emperor Ming said proudly, following Ming Xiu's words. These old things don't take advantage of it and think, how can there be such a cheap good thing about by-dealing wine? Looking at the stinginess of your father and son, this old man will not take it for nothing. The tower owner of the Dan Pagoda took out a brocade box of 10,000 years of ice and put it on the table and said, I heard that the little girl likes to collect high-level spirit grasses. I will give you these 8-level high-level spirit grasses as a gift. Give me a pot of wine to taste. These 8-level high-level spirit grasses are very different from the 8th-level spirit grasses collected by Lu Muan before. They are not at the same level at all, their value is countless, and it is impossible to buy or collect them on the market. I also have several kinds of spirit fruits that make 8 grades of spirit wine, and give them to the little girl. The president of the mercenary union took out a few wooden boxes and said, of course, I also want a pot of spirit wine. Several other people also gave away the relatively high-value spirit grasses and spirits in exchange for the spirit wine. There are only 4 pots here. Emperor Hades swept around the things that several people brought out, and said to Lu Muan with satisfaction, the elders are invaluable, you don't have to be polite to these old people, their good things can fill this place. Put everything in the private room. Several other people rolled their eyes at Emperor Hades invariably. If there are so many good things, how can we compare to you, Emperor Hades? As we all know, Emperor Hades is much younger than them, but his strength is unfathomable. He often travels to many dangerous high-level secret realms and collects more treasures than them. Naturally, this emperor will not let his daughter-in-law suffer, Emperor Hades said with a face that should be taken for granted. Yan'er, here it is. Mingxia was afraid that Lu Muan would be embarrassed, so he put the good things on the table in a space ring and put them in Lu Muan's hand, holding her hand to declare sovereignty. The other princes and princesses were envious one by one. These meeting gifts were priceless, and they were heartbroken when they saw it. 8-grade spirit wine is of great benefit to them, and they also have great demand. How could he be so lucky? Mingxia finds a woman not only an 8th-rank alchemist, but also an 8th-rank spirit wine master. No wonder they had to have a couple for the rest of their lives, but if they found such a beautiful and talented woman, they could do it too. My evil imperial wife is too arrogant, trash against the world, BlackBelly evil wife is too arrogant. Author, Lan by Gezi. Chapter 700. There are still 4 pots of spirit wine left, which is not easy to divide equally. After seeing Lum Wan accepting the things, Emperor Ming changed his mind. These 4 pots of wine are not good for you, so let's drink it together now. The other people couldn't help but twitch the corners of their mouths. As the emperor of the human realm, this Hades emperor was so calculating, no wonder he was so rich. Emperor Underworld, don't you still have Ling Yuan fruit in your hand? The pavilion owner of the refining pavilion continued. Take out 2 more and ask Lu Girl to brew it into spirit wine. Emperor Hades glanced at him lightly and smiled. My daughter-in-law's energy is limited, and it will take a long time to recover after brewing this spirit wine. Danta Pagoda Master really wanted to smack the Underworld Emperor. Why does Lum Wan's red face now need to recover for a while? You can definitely continue after taking a break. But mentioning this point, several people were once again amazed at the strength of Lum Wan's mental power. Not long ago, she only refined 10 8-rank intermediate-level medicinal pills, and not long after she came to the private room, she continued to brew 8-rank spirit wine. Now it seems that there is no sign of mental exhaustion, it is too strong. Such talent is rare. What we need most is time and patience. After the little girl has rested, we can wait. The leader of the Array Alliance smiled and said. After drinking the 8th-grade spirit wine brewed from Ling Yuan Kyo and 1000-year-old royal jelly, they could feel a small stream of heat in their dantian, indicating that it was useful for them to improve their cultivation. Moreover, the spirit wine brewed by Lum Wan is very pure and refreshing. He hasn't had such a good tasting spirit wine for many years, so he naturally wants to get a few more pots and go back and drink it. No, Emperor Ming said with a half-smiling smile, I got the Ling Yuan fruit from my adventure in the Little Heaven realm. How can there be so many of them to brew spirit wine for you to drink? Underworld. Several people were still haggling, and there were knocks on the door of the private room. Dong dong. When Emperor Ming's guard opened the door, he saw Feng Yuexin and the Feng family standing outside the private room door. Yan'er, are you going back? Feng Yuexin asked calmly from the door of the private room. Yuexin is here, Emperor Ming said with a smile. I haven't seen you for a long time, and won't you come in and sit? Feng Yuexin was not polite, and led the Feng family into the private room. The private room is very large and can accommodate more than 50 people, so the 7 or 8 people from the Feng family will not appear crowded when they come in. Your seat, Emperor Hades instructed the people behind him. As ordered. There are 2 more seats on the side of Emperor Hades. Feng Yuexin and the head of the Feng family sat down, and the others were arranged to be with the princes and daughters. Girl Feng, your cultivation is improving too fast. The pavilion master of the item refining pavilion looked at Feng Yuexin and said with a smile, it's only been a long time since your cultivation is almost as strong as ours. When Feng Yuexin raised her name as a genius, she was only in the Tianyuan realm. At that time, they were all her seniors. She never imagined that she had already reached the upper fusion realm in just over 30 years, and her cultivation was at the same level as theirs. The pavilion master is joking. Although Yuexin has been promoted to the upper fusion realm, if it is compared to the strength and a few, it is still a lot different. Feng Yuexin smiled modestly. The time for her to advance from the Tianyuan realm to the upper fusion realm is too short, and her understanding is definitely not as good as these old guys who have lived for thousands of years. Your talent back then was one of the best in that generation. Now that you have a daughter, your talent is even stronger, which is really enviable. The tower owner of Danta laughed and joked. Feng Yuexin responded with a smile, my family's Yan'er is naturally good, but I can't envy this. Emperor Ming looked at Feng Yuexin with a smile and said, your Feng family really made a profit this time. Mu Yan is not only an 8th grade alchemist, but also an 8th grade spirit drinker. What, the 8th grade spirit wine master? Fenuigzin couldn't help exclaiming before Fenuigzin spoke. Fenuigzin was much calmer. She never doubted her daughter's ability. Although she didn't know about the 8th grade spirit wine master before, it must be true from the mouth of Emperor Hades. As soon as Emperor Ming saw the appearance of the head of the Feng family, he knew that this person didn't know that Lum Wan was an 8th grade spirit sommelier. Mu Yan, pour your uncle and them a glass of the spirit wine you made. Several other bigwigs couldn't help but want to spray him when they heard the words of Emperor Hades. This spirit wine was exchanged for something. However, the Feng family is also Lum Wan's mother clan, so they can't object, so they can only pick up the jug and pour it by themselves. If they can drink a little here, they can see that it is impossible to bring this spirit wine back today. Lum Wan thought about it and stood up and poured a glass of spirit wine for her mother, uncle, everyone in the Feng family, and every prince and daughter, and she did it quite well. Emperor Hades was a little more satisfied with Lum Wan's smooth life. Such a transparent woman was indeed worthy of his rebellious son. Good wine. After tasting the wine, the members of the Feng family were full of praise, but they were not too excited because there were all the top-notch bigwigs here. The news that Lum Wan was an 8th grade spirit sommelier made them even more excited than an 8th grade alchemist. Families specializing in the cultivation body have the greatest demand for spirit wine. The Feng family also has a 7th grade spirit wine master dedicated to it. Usually, his eyes grow to the top of his head. They also maintain a long-term cooperation with ElementalMagic, and spend a lot of money on ElementalMagic's high-end spirit wine in a year. Several bosses pondered while drinking. Girl Lu, presumably the inspector of our mercenary union has already contacted you. The president of the mercenary union said with a kind smile. How is it? Come to our mercenary union to develop. After thinking about it, he is still ready to strike first. If he is slow to be cut off by the other old guys, he will be ruined. If Lum Wan was just an 8th grade alchemist, they would still have a chance to fight, but the 8th grade spirit wine master represented made them irresistible. The tower owner of the Dan Tower secretly scolded the president of the mercenary union with an old sly, and looked at Lum Wan with a loving smile and said, little girl, our Dan Tower's deputy tower master of Bizhu has already told you, Danta welcomes you to join us. The bosses of the Refining Pavilion, the Formation Alliance, and the Beast Masters Union all scolded the two of them as shameless in their hearts, but they had already contacted Lum Wan so quickly, and there was no news to disclose before, which was too boring. Lewis girl, I heard that you showed the strength of the 7th rank Array Mage in the battle with the Mad Lion mercenary group. Our Array Alliance also welcomes you to join. The leader of the Formation Alliance added with a smile, the advanced formations of the entire human domain are basically in our Formation Alliance. If you can join, I believe that you can upgrade to the 8th or even 9th grade Array Mage in a certain amount of time.